If you don't know me, my name is Sam and I make self-development content for beginners and intermediates, and in today's video I'll be talking about the shadow work, and this will be a series where I give you guys insights on me tapping into the shadow and like that dark side of ourselves. If you don't know the shadow, basically it's the dark side of ourselves that we don't normally tap into and we fear understanding. Let's get into this shit.
It helps the speaker lead his audience into the scene he described.
At the beginning of my third bulk, the current bulk that I'm in right now, I hit this plateau, right, where my weight's not going up. Every time I'd weigh myself on the scale, I'd see no changes. I was exercising right, I was eating right at the time, I thought, right? In the fitness space, when that happens, you're typically doing two things wrong. Either it's your diet or you're not training hard enough. And I noticed that the amount of food that I was eating stayed the same. At the time, I wasn't willing to increase the amount of food I was eating, basically, because it was too hard. And mind you, I was eating like 3,000. At the time, I was eating like 3,500-ish, around that range, sub 4,000, right? But I realized that to get to the next level of my weight goal, I had to go up to the plus 4,000s to 5,000s, right? And that's where I'm on right now. Because this was so much food, I physically was like, bro, is this goal worth it anymore? Is this goal worth it? Then when I was in the gym and I was in that zone of like being a menace and shit, right? For some reason, a thought just popped up in my mind. It's like, us humans have adapted to the environment, and like we were able to adapt to the environment and to everything around us, right? And the ones who ended up passing on the genes were the strongest ones. The strongest survive. It meant that, oh, my body has this ability to adapt to the stress I put on it. And I was talking to my cousin about it, and he said it's called Wolf's Law, but I honestly didn't know it existed, right? I just thought I came up with this concept myself, but it turns out I didn't, right? And that's when I came up with this quote, right? Adapt or die. In that moment, I was like, I either adapt to the requirements for me to reach my goal. And mind you, my goal is to get to 75 kg. I'm currently like 70 kg, and it's either meet the demand of my big goal, as in adapt, or compromise and say, you know what, that goal is too far for me, it's too big for me, I stay here at 70 kg, I compromise, right? And that's the choice I faced in that moment. And I realized, if I have this potential to adapt to things and to hard things, I'd rather do it, because the regret of me not achieving that goal would be too much to bear. So at the end, at this point, right, after constantly having that thought in my mind, adapt or die, and it's not necessarily die, right? I mean die as in not get to where you want to get to because you weren't able to handle the stresses that were required to get you to that goal. All the shit you probably face in your life too, it's super hard, and sometimes you feel like, man, I sort of wish I didn't have all this like all these things going on in my life, right? But if you have that framework in your head, it's like adapt or die, adapt or compromise. You become so much more powerful in being able to achieve the big goals that you want, because your big goals and the things that you want to achieve in life will require a lot from you. And adapt or die.
Game over. It helps the speaker lead his audience into